The classroom fell silent. It wasn't the usual kind of silence where the teacher walks in and everyone pretends to behave. This was different. Tense. Heavy. All eyes were locked on the scene in the back row, where 3 boys stood around a single desk. Their shadows loomed over a girl who had barely spoken a word all year. Her name was Maya. The girl who always sat by the window, sketching in her notebook instead of talking. The girl who wore oversized hoodies and avoided eye contact. Most students thought she was shy, fragile, someone who wouldn't fight back. That's exactly why the bullies thought she was an easy target. But they didn't know her story. It started with a snide comment. "Hey, mouse girl," sneered Jordan, the ringleader. "Why don't you say something for once? Or can't you speak?" His friends laughed, but Maya kept her eyes on her notebook, pretending not to hear. Jordan's smirk faltered. He didn't like being ignored. A second later, his hand shot out, grabbing her throat. Not hard enough to choke her, at first, but enough to make her freeze. "Look at me when I'm talking to you," he hissed. His friends leaned in, egging him on. The room shifted. Some kids laughed nervously. Others looked away, afraid to get involved. The teacher was out, and the substitute hadn't arrived yet. It was just them. And then, Maya moved. She stood up so fast her chair scraped the floor. Her hand shot up, gripping Jordan's wrist with a strength no one expected from her small frame. His grin disappeared. In one sharp, practiced motion, she twisted his wrist backward, forcing him to his knees with a gasp of pain. The other 2 boys lunged toward her, but she pivoted, caught the first one's arm mid-swing, and snapped it backward in a brutal joint lock that made him yelp and drop to the ground. The third froze, eyes wide. "Sit down," Maya said, her voice calm, cold, even. It was the first time many had ever heard her speak. And he did. No one knew it then, but Maya had spent years training in martial arts. Her father, a military instructor, had taught her from the age of 6, after a home invasion left her family shaken. She didn't fight unless she had to, but she wasn't going to let anyone put their hands on her. Not again. The bullies nursed their aching wrists, humiliated in front of the entire class. But the real challenge came after. The principal called her in. The boys told a different story, claiming she had attacked them for no reason. Some teachers believed them. Others stayed silent, unwilling to take sides. Maya's parents were called to the school. Her father, calm but stern, looked the principal in the eye. "My daughter doesn't start fights. But she will finish them." Still, the incident spread through the school like wildfire. Some students saw her as a hero. Others whispered that she was dangerous. Even the bullies kept their distance, but not because they had learned their lesson. A week later, Jordan tried to corner her in the hallway. No grabbing this time, no physical contact, just venomous words. "You think you're tough? This isn't over." Maya didn't even stop walking. She looked him in the eye and said, "It's over when you stop being a coward." That was the moment things truly shifted. Not because he respected her, but because he feared her. Fear, Maya realized, wasn't the goal. It was respect. And respect had to be earned, not demanded. Months passed. Maya kept to herself, but something changed. Students who once avoided her began sitting beside her in class. One girl, Emily, shyly thanked her for showing that they can't push people around anymore. Slowly, Maya began speaking more, not to everyone, but to the ones who treated her with kindness. The bullies. They never touched her again. In fact, they seemed smaller now, stripped of the power they once held. The message was clear. You don't have to be loud to be strong. You don't have to fight to prove yourself, but if someone crosses your boundaries, you have every right to defend them. Maya walked out of that school year with more than just good grades. She walked out with her dignity intact, her head high, and a quiet fire in her heart. Because she knew now. Quiet didn't mean weak. Quiet could be unshakable. Quiet could be unstoppable.